This is part one of a series of videos dedicated to the folk that surround me. Some of them are in my day-to-day life, and others that have been there for a long time. The kind of pals that when you meet up, it's as if no time has passed at all. We all have friends that help us out, cheer us up, or are there when life is dragging us down. Isn't it nice to say thank you occasionally? But a little gratitude goes a long way. Welcome to Goblins and Aliens. For this model, I thought I'd take advantage of the multi-pose construction and approach it in a sub-assembly fashion. I don't often paint sub-assemble models due to the push-fit nature of the newer lines, but if the miniature allows it, I do recommend trying it out. Starting with a spray prime of matte black and an overspray with Vampire Violet, both by Colourforge. Purple is on the opposite side of the colour wheel to green. Hopefully it will add some visual interest to the overall finish. A good starting point for any miniature is to begin painting the innermost area. Fortunately, on this guy, it's pretty much the bulk of the model. Medium olive for the armour, pulling towards the highlight areas, remembering that most of these shapes are cylindrical. Mixing black into the medium olive, thin down, glaze towards the shadows. If you find that this darkens the mid-tone or leaves a muddy finish, reapply the previous layer, glazing over the transition lines. Use an intermediate green, thinned down to a glaze, pushing the highlights one step at a time. To blur the line between the layers of paint, glaze back over the transition line with the previous paint. I do intend on making an in-depth video explaining each of the techniques that I use in detail. The shoulder and knee pads get a coat of black, with a slight gradient highlight of dark sea green. The Crux Terminatus emblem gets a quick dry brush of dark sea green, ready for the highlight build-up later. Glaze a thin mix of yellow-green and intermediate green. Yellow-green is a brilliant paint for boosting any green. With all glazing, it's a back and forth process. Soon as the highlight layer has dried, smooth back over with the shade tone. For the crux, I use a combination of black with dark sea green and a dark sea green with a deck tan mix. I paint them in a layer fashion to emulate the stone texture. No need for smooth glazing this time. For the chestplate Aquila, I'm not the best at non-metallic metal, but I do enjoy trying. It has been the most important technique I've tried. In trying to figure out non-metallic metal, I improved my glazing and brush control. It's important to push yourself out of your comfort zone to learn more. My goal for the heavy flamer weapon was to get a worn look by dry brushing the bulk of it with Leadbelcher, and to paint the muzzle with Warplock Bronze. This is a great example of testing your brush loads before attacking the model. But there's always a fix. This time it's knocking back the brightness of the metallic paint with a dark glaze. This can also be achieved with washes or speed paints. This is where sub-assembly plays a big role. After impaling the head on a wine cork, I get to work on the eyes, using the mentality of starting the inner point first. Any overspill can get fixed on the next layer. I start with a black red, then gradually mix in Scarlet Red to increase the brightness, with a final dot of orange red for the shine. Salamander skin is a burnt charcoal. It was at this point I realised I've never painted any other skin tone than Goblin Green and Death's Door's Pale. For this, I've utilised the prime and the overspray and focused on the high points of the face. Dark sea green and deck tan for the win. Love it or hate it, but edge highlighting is a phenomenal technique to finish up your miniatures. I used to hate it when I first started out. It was too bright for my taste. Pair it with glazing and you get fantastic results. If I were to do this model again, I think I'd have braved going full non-metallic metal, or predominantly using the undercoat. I do have an idea on how to achieve what's in my head. There is a trend amongst the well-known miniature painters to leave the recesses and the shaded areas with that undercoat to give a false underlit appearance. Clearly trying to dry brush the weapon was a mistake on my behalf. I didn't offload the brush enough. I was aiming for that scratchy look that you get from dry brushing. I should have edge highlighted the weapon and spent time making it look banged up. As always, if you have found any value in this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up or commenting if you'll be trying these techniques. Remember to subscribe if you want to see more from this channel. Thank you, take care.